And now from San Diego, California, welcome to the Gentle Jab Show. With a little gentle jab coming from the left and another gentle jab coming from the right. We'll exchange some punches, but they'll be pretty light. We'll debate politics and have a friendly fight. So let's get started.
Welcome to Gentle Jabs. On this show, Democrats and Republicans come together to discuss current events around the United States and the world. On this week's show, we're going to be discussing the 10th Amendment, Roe versus Wade, the midterms, geo-tracking, and gas prices. We have some really riveting clips to involve with some of these topics. John, why don't you kick it off first this week?
Yeah, I think we have some good topics this week. It's been an interesting week, probably the most active week for decisions coming out of the Supreme Court. And I'll be very interested in getting President Trump and President Clinton's reaction. But the 10th Amendment, a lot of people don't think about it. A lot of people don't understand what it says. But we've got a clip that explains the 10th Amendment. Why don't we play that, Mitch, and we'll come back and get some reaction. So let's cue up clip one. The 10th Amendment is not well thought of all the time. It's kind of one of the last ones, but I think more people need to understand exactly what it calls for. Let's see what we got.
The 10th Amendment is what's known as a rule of construction. This is a legal phrase the framers were quite familiar with. It's basically a set of instructions on how to read the entire Constitution. To understand this, first let's review the text of the 10th. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. As a rule of construction, we're told two primary things. One, the federal government is only authorized to exercise those powers delegated to it in the Constitution and nothing more. Two, if something isn't delegated to the federal government and isn't expressly prohibited to the states, then the people of each state get to determine whether or not they want to deal with something and how. Thomas Jefferson called this the foundation of the Constitution, and if you apply these two rules to anything and everything done or proposed to be done by the federal government, your foundation will be strong.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward stuff. Now, Bill Clinton, that says basically if it doesn't say in the Constitution this is a federal government power, then it belongs to the state. So I don't know why you guys are getting all up in a twirl here over this ruling that came out of the Supreme Court. But do you believe that there's not a real good understanding in general about the 10th Amendment?
I think there's an understanding, but it all depends on who you talk to and what is. The thing is, John, is that the federal government, and I agree with that clip to a certain extent, but the federal government should not allow something as serious as this topic of abortion, Roe versus Wade, to go to the states. Most of the states, a lot of the states don't even have it. So a lot of people are upset because, it's my body, my choice. They stole my line, but my body, my choice. And I think that people should be able to, and women especially, should be able to make that determination and not have the federal government give it to the states to do so.
Well, the 10th Amendment was put in the Constitution to limit the strength and power of the federal government, and the people in the states want to have the right to control certain aspects of their life. President Trump, you had a great week in the last 2 weeks. You've done more for the Supreme Court than any president in the last 50 years that I'm aware of. What are your thoughts?
Well, I appreciate it, John. This thing, I was watching the hearings on the January 6th the other day, and it was complete joke about me grabbing the guy driving the car, grabbing him by the throat. I never did that to anybody, but it's good theater. It's not a real hearing because they don't allow the other side, but I digress. Let me go back to what you're talking about. The 10th Amendment is there for a complete reason. It's not what you believe, Bill. It's not up to you to decide. The court was very clear that this goes to the states. And this type of cases, this should go to the states and they have the right to decide. You don't want too much government, like my friend Ronald Reagan said, government is the problem. Or as he said it, government is the problem.
Yeah, no, I think it's very clear. I think we have more people that need to understand the 10th Amendment. There's less than 20 enumerated powers in the Constitution for the federal government, like the coinage, the mail, the roads, the border, the military, treaties. I mean, there's a limit to what the founders wanted the federal government to get involved in. So this is a perfect example of the 10th Amendment. Now, as it applies to Roe versus Wade, I mean, I think Clarence Thomas did a great job articulating this. He's done more for Black people and youth than anybody on the left. I don't quite understand the approach you're taking. I hear you're bad-mouthing Clarence. I see your wife, Bill Clinton, coming out with stuff. Why do you guys hate Clarence Thomas so much?
No, I don't. I actually like him. I think he's a brilliant mind. But I think something as serious as this should belong to the federal government. Why? Because of church and state, separation of church and state. That's also federal. So something of this magnitude should be decided by the federal government, in my opinion.
So you're agreeing that we should, or you're thinking that we should do away with the 10th Amendment in this case?
I do.
Well, I think that's a big mistake. I mean,
Well, I don't. I completely disagree with them. These people are unhinged right now. They're going crazy. They're trying to keep me from running again. They're fearful of what's going to happen in November, and they're losing their mind. They're absolutely losing their mind.
Yeah, I think it's true. Now, let's take a look at the midterms now. A lot of things are going on. Bill Clinton, I got to ask you, are you thinking this nonsense that you guys are putting out, that men can get pregnant and now they have to worry about what they do under this abortion agreement and all this woke stuff coming out of Disney, where corporations are going to pay to have their employees go to a state that will allow abortion? Do you think that's going to go over well with people in America?
I don't know. I mean, we've got so many important problems going on right now with inflation, trying to get that under control. I think that supersedes this, but you know, you want to talk about midterms, I can tell you what I do know. And that is the latest polls have shown that 48% of the Democrats are looking better. They think that we're doing better, and they're hurting the Republicans. This is hurting the Republicans big time, and Donald knows it. In fact, Donald, you said the other day that you were concerned about this vote, that it was going to hurt the Republicans in the long run.
I'm going to hurt you in the long run if you keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, he's deflecting.
It's quite amazing. Now, I saw a poll that Stacey Abrams is tied with Kemp in Georgia for the governor's race. I mean, I don't quite understand what is the attraction to Stacey Abrams and anyone on the Democrat side with all this stuff going on with gas prices and the polls. Now, Clinton, Mr. Clinton, you said that a poll showed that 48% of Democrats think things are good.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone up quite a bit. It was in May, it was 47%.
Well, I don't know where you get that
1%.
poll. Yeah, you got that poll. I don't know where you got it from, because I think that Stacey Abrams is going to go down. But I saw a poll this morning.
Well, that's only one person, John, if that's true.
Well, 72% of Americans, both Democrats and Republicans, think the country is on the wrong track. So I think that there's going to be a red wave to the Republicans. If you saw some of the primaries yesterday, I think we lined up some great candidates. And I don't think that Maxine Waters and AOC are going to help your cause when they get out there. You know, they're inciting riots. Why isn't there an investigation into them and the insurrection at the Arizona Capitol and the destructions done in Portland and other major cities over this? Why do you guys only want to investigate Republicans?
Because of the seriousness of what happened on January 6th. And that is the Capitol building. That's the Holy Grail. Arizona doesn't count.
Yeah. So what exactly in your mind happened on January 6th? I mean, in my mind, it was a peaceful protest that got a little crazy, but the only person killed was Ashley Babbitt, and there was not a lot of destruction there. No shots were fired. No fires were set. They did that to St. John's Church across the street from the White House, and President Trump went over there. Either president, please give us your thoughts.
Well, I'd like to just interject here, Bill, if you don't mind. First of all, it was a complete lie that I had said to the people coming in, let them in, they have guns, let them in. If that was the case, if these people had guns, how come no shots were fired from any of these people? Think about that one. Let that sink in, Bill. If they had guns and I ordered them to let them in because they had weapons, not one was fired. However, they were allowed in by your buddy Ray Epps. And where's this clown anyway? Nobody seems to know where he is. It's like, he just vanished into thin air. He doesn't exist anymore. Nobody's allowed to talk about him anymore.
Yeah, I think there's some serious concerns now. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Joe had to have a cue card to tell him what to do when he went to an event. I mean, President Trump, can you ever imagine yourself taking a cue card? You are a vivacious, talented guy that can speak off the cuff on any topic for a half an hour or more, take every question from reporters. And we have this current president that has to be told, you enter the room, you say hello, you take your seat. Yeah, bum, bum, bum. I mean, what kind of malarkey is that? He said no malarkey. We're getting a lot of malarkey.
In my 4 years, you can never find a cue card to tell me what to do. Matter of fact, when I called out the fake news, and I used to stand out there going to the helicopter, Air Force One, whatever, and I used to talk to these people, even though I knew they were out of their mind. I would take questions, no teleprompter. I would take questions. And they had to pull me away because I was going to be late to something after 20 minutes.
Yeah, you took
I spent tons of time.
You took every question from every reporter, and you knew some of them were going to be negative. Most of them were negative. And I wish
negative.
Peter Doocy was around when you were there. But Joe is really an embarrassment. And I think in France, he's kind of gone incoherent a couple of times, but it's just amazing. Now let's move on to this.
Well, you know what I think it is, John?
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah, but I think it's outrageous. And let's move on to this geo-tracking. We have a clip from Dinesh D'Souza, clip number 2. And I think it does a great job of explaining the technology and how accurate it is. And if we can put people from January 6th in jail without any due process, I'd like to understand why we can't put some of these people that were involved in this cheating. Let's take a look at that clip, Mitch. Clip number 2.
Yeah, this is a key point. I mean, the left itself celebrated geo-tracking when it was used to chase down January 6 protesters who brought their phones with them into the Capitol. The CDC, I read, and you can just search this and find out in the last couple of days, has said that it uses geo-tracking of cell phones to try to verify if people are maintaining social distancing. Now think about that. Social distancing means 6 feet. If the geo-tracking wasn't accurate to within 6 feet, it would make no sense to use it. In fact, geo-tracking is much more accurate. And anyone in law enforcement knows this. Typically what these fact checkers do is they start calling around academics, and they go to one after the other to another until they find someone who goes, well, it's kind of accurate to about 30 feet, so you can't really tell. So they kind of shop around for a quote source that will then tell them what they want to hear.
But even if it's 30 feet, worst case scenario, according to them, that's still pretty darn accurate.
It is, because no one is claiming that geo-tracking cannot tell the difference between motion and being stationary. So what True the Vote was able to do here is notice not that people are going by a drop box, but they are going to a drop box and then on to another drop box. And remember, these drop boxes they're not all in the same place. You have to get off the highway, you got to take a side street. So they are going intentionally from drop box to drop box to drop box. And think of how that squares with the left's assertion, these fact checkers, people are just dropping off votes of their family members. Well, if that's true, A, why go to multiple drop boxes? B, why go between 1 and 4 a.m. in the morning? C, why wear surgical gloves? D, why take photos of the ballots going into the box?
Yeah, I think that's a great synopsis of what's going on there. Now, President Trump, we've got to get election integrity coming in for the midterms. But this geo-tracking, I watch 48 Hours every once in a while, the first 48, a crime show. and they use geo-tracking to get these guys and arrest them. But I want to remind everyone, we have a YouTube channel. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, we'd appreciate it. Just go to YouTube, ask for Gentle Jabs, type in Gentle Jabs, and take a look at the show. Let your friends know about it. We're going to keep bringing these shows. We want to bring you a lively show every week, and we want to get the House back in Republican hands. Now, President Trump, I think Dinesh did a great job there. What do you think we can do with this 2,000 mules to get it a little more visible? And why wouldn't the FBI be looking into that? I've heard reports that people say it's been debunked. I don't know that anybody's debunked it. What do you think? And President Trump.
I'm here. I think they're on to me right now. They're trying to censor me. You know what? To answer your question, the question is they want to use geo-tracking for the supposed insurrection. Where is Ray Epps? Where is Ray Epps? And by the way, not just to obsess on Ray Epps, but the FBI. The FBI also knew something. You know, why aren't they doing investigations of anything? Why aren't they investigating the geo-tracking of what's going on with Dinesh D'Souza?
Yeah, now the other thing
Perfect sense. They want to use it for me, but they don't want to use it for the voters and the truth.
I mean, Bill Clinton, your wife would have loved to have geo-tracking back when she was trying to chase you down. She sent the Arkansas troopers out to find where you were, whether you were at Jennifer Flowers or you were at some other girl's house. So are you in favor of using geo-tracking, and why wouldn't you want it to be used to make sure our elections have integrity?
Well, I'll tell you, pardon me. I don't mean that literally, but I would like to say that I don't like geo-tracking. And I'll tell you why. I have always, you remember, John, back in the day when we used to have a beeper?
Yeah.
I like that. That way, if I'm notified, I can look down at the number and call back when I'm not busy.
Well, I can tell you this geo-tracking is real technology. They've got millions and millions of hours of videotaping from all over the country. And I think, I don't know if you guys remember Ted Cruz interrogating an FBI person who wanted to know if there were FBI agents infiltrated into the crowd. And she said she had to decline that. So if we get the gavel back in November, I really want that looked into. And I think this is a bunch of baloney. So I just think it's outrageous. Now let's move on to gas prices.
I would like to ask you something.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't want you to laugh at this, okay? I'm dead serious.
Okay.
If you're going to have a Speaker of the House, if you do take back the House, and I don't believe that you will, but in the case that you do, you think that it would help bring the country together by making me the Speaker of the House?
Well, you'd have to be a sitting member of Congress to do that. I mean, do you think we could bring you in as like some Speaker Emeritus for all your great years of service?
Not going to happen, Bill. Bill, not going to happen. That I can tell you. Not going to happen.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite interesting. Now, there were clips this week of Joe and Hunter talking about China, and Joe telling him to give him a call, no big deal. But the New York Times is going to run an article on his connections in China, and Joe had said he had no dealings with his son's business. I mean, this is outrageous. So I think it's going to set up a huge wave in November. And let's move on to gas prices.
Can you imagine if that was my son, Don Jr.?
Yeah, I don't see anything good happening.
They'd start the fourth process again. They would get me again. They would try to get me again. They're not going to be happy until they get rid of me. I'm the greatest threat to them.
Absolutely. But you've got 70 million followers and a lot more coming along. I saw the rally that you did in Illinois, and Joe couldn't even get 100 people at the DNC headquarters. Kamala Harris, I don't think she could get 100 people. You know, you guys are grasping at straws.
Yeah, but he had a lot of people online.
Yeah, they were in line for the bathroom. There were more people in line for the bathroom than sitting in his deal. Now, this
your words are hurtful, John. Your words are hurtful.
Absolutely. Now, Gavin Newsom, I guess he's the fallback guy. This guy ran San Francisco into the dumper. He's done nothing in California that I'm aware of. gas prices are outrageous. He's going to try to bribe everyone with a $200 check in November before the elections or late October. So I think that you guys are really floundering, and I'm looking forward to this big red wave. Now let's talk about gas prices. I don't know who's bought gas. I know you guys, presidents, you don't buy gas because you got Secret Service doing that for you. But Mitch, what do you see in Utah? What's happened the last week or so?
So I pulled up a search today, and everything in Utah County is either 540 or more. I pulled up a search here for California that I can show you that this is down in San Diego, that everything is over 640 up to 690. And so I know a lot of our viewers are in San Diego, so I just wanted to kind of show that. But I did find one gas station that's $3.40, and we want to help our listeners get a good deal on gas. There is one gas station in all of San Diego County that's $3.40.
Wow. I think they're doing that for 4th of July weekend. They're doing it as a promo. I thought I saw that. Now, this red wave is real. You saw Lauren Boebert. You saw Mary Miller. Donald Trump is 140, endorsements came through at only 10 lost. So he's got a record of 140 versus 10. Now, Mitch, let's cue up clip 3 and get a feel for gas prices in San Francisco.
For drivers who have had to dig deeper to make it in the Bay, a slight pause when it comes to those skyrocketing gas prices that we've all seen. But will that relief at the pump last for very long?
NBC Bay Area's Bob Riddell, live for us in Dublin. And Bob, it sounds like the slight dip that we're seeing right now may soon evaporate.
Well, at least part of it will. There will be a mandatory increase in the gas. That's because of a tax increase that goes into effect at the end of the week. We've been talking about this all morning. More on that in a moment. Take a look at the numbers from overnight from AAA. These are the average prices for a gallon of gas. You're looking at Oakland. It's $6.40. Compare that to $6.50 a week ago. We're down a dime. Similar situation in SF, $6.45, 9-cent drop. San Jose, $6.37, another drop of a dime over the past week.
At 10 cents a gallon, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take that. I'll take it, but it's still so much money.
I'm also trying to take BART a little bit more just to kind of counter offer with the prices of gas right now.
The local price of gasoline has plummeted over the last few weeks. There have been renewed concerns of an economic slowdown, which could reduce consumption. There are still concerns about COVID in China, which shutting down parts of that country, leading to less oil consumption. And at the same time, refineries across the country here boosting output.
As I was saying, on Friday, gas prices are set to go up automatically. July 1st, that's Friday, is when the new state gas tax kicks in. You might recall Senate Bill 1, it was approved back in 2017. It says that prices are set to increase every year. So on Friday, prices will rise nearly 3 cents a gallon, with the money being earmarked for fixing roads, repairing potholes, rebuilding bridges, and improving public transportation. Reporting live here in Dublin, Bob Riddell, Today in the Bay.
Yeah, there you go. Now, I don't understand why the Democrats in California, they're going to increase the gas tax on Friday. It's just outrageous. Bill Clinton, do you think that Gavin Newsom is going to be your strongest fallback when you guys reject Joe and Kamala?
I don't know. I think it's early. I'll know more in about 8 months. But I will say this. I think that he is probably one of only a few that could carry the torch. A lot of it's not his fault. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but the pandemic, a lot of people stayed home. They were forced jobs, had ended for a while, and they went home and they weren't getting the gas. They didn't need the gas. They were staying home, and that halted production. And so they're just now starting to catch up. Plus, I don't think it's a bad idea to go green. I think a Green New Deal, I kind of like a lot of it, but I think it's great for the environment. And I think I know people don't like change. But
still, until that point, we should have left that pipeline open. That shouldn't have been shut down day one because of how much things have changed since then. We should have left the pipeline open. What are your thoughts, Sean?
Well, I think they should have left the pipeline open. Now, as far as Gavin Newsom carrying the torch, he's going to carry on the dumpster fire for the Democrats. President Trump, you had us energy independent. How disappointed were you when Biden, day one, shut down the Keystone Pipeline?
Well, it made me sick to my stomach because I knew it was going to hurt the people. And it did. It has nothing to do with Putin. We all, like I said before in previous shows, we only get like 3% of the oil. We have plenty of oil here, tons of it, more than Saudi Arabia. But we're not allowed to get it because it doesn't fit the agenda what these people want. They want to shove it down your throats until you can't take it anymore. And then they're going to just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing. You know what? This is crazy. This is not a gas shortage. This is all political.
Yep. Now, I want to remind everyone again, we've got a YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe to the channel, let your friends know about it. We'd appreciate it. And let's get some closing comments from either president on anything they've seen this week and what they expect in the next week or so.
Well, I kind of disagree with Donald on that. I think that he likes to toot his own horn a lot. But fact of the matter is, this is not just a problem in the United States. This is a global concern. And I read this the other day that even China is having trouble, you know. And so a lot of us are. I mean, we've got a war going on in the East and numerous problems around the world. So crime is up, and a lot of bad things go with it when you have that kind of thing. So I think we need to wait and see what happens. I think y'all are going to be shocked in November at what's going to happen. It's not going to be like you said it is. It's not going to be near as red as your shirt, John.
Yeah, well, I would still like you to tell me who has invited Joe to come in and hold a rally in their district or state to help them in the midterms. I have not heard of one. I don't think Joe is going to do any of that. He is just a pawn, and it's just outrageous how terrible the country is doing and how ugly the economy has turned around since he took over. It's just outrageous. I mean, when you look at what's all families, Republican, Democrat, Independents, are all struggling with gas prices and grocery costs. I went to Walmart yesterday. Boneless chicken breasts were up 30% from the previous week. And this is, you want more time. We don't want to give you more time. The red wave is coming. And I think President Trump has done a great job. He's holding rallies. Why isn't yourself or your ex-wife or Joe or Barry Obama, why aren't they holding any rallies? I don't hear anyone saying USA, USA at any rally other than Trump rallies. Bill Clinton, what do you think?
And you won't either. You know, we're an inclusive party, and we represent everybody, even the people that are upset. So, you know, we're going to do our thing, and don't you worry. You know, just keep your shoes on because things are going to start happening. You're going to start seeing it here in the next 45 days.
Next 45 days. I'm coming to mark that on my calendar. We're going to hold you to that. And what do you think will
going to happen in 45 days?
Yeah.
Only that the gas is going to get worse. I mean, let's face it. It's going to get worse. A lot of things are going to get worse. If you look at the financial institution, things are coming, stocks are doing horrible. Everything's coming down. It's all coming down. And it's going to be a bad thing.
Bill Clinton, I'd like to ask you, what do you think is one of the things that might happen in 45 days?
I don't know. But I will say this. I think you will see that there will be more people coming out in support of President Biden. And I think you'll see more of President Biden supporting those individuals that he wants to move forward in our party. You're going to see a lot of a push for certain candidates. I think you're going to see a lot of it.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, Mitch, do you have any closing comments?
Yes, just as we wrap up the show, I kind of wanted to go full circle back to the 10th Amendment and how important the Constitution is and what that really should mean to people that live in this country, that those truly are the freedoms that we are granted by the Constitution and by God, and that people need to get to know the Constitution. And I just challenge all of our listeners, get out there and read the Constitution, read the 10th Amendment. There's a reason why the federal government and why the founding fathers limited the amount of power that the federal government had, and why they allowed the people in each state to make the decisions, because really the people that are living in that region should be the ones dictating, making the decisions for their lives, not people that live on the opposite side of the country that don't have a full understanding of their circumstances or what they're going through. And so I just challenge all of our listeners to get to know the Constitution.
Yeah, that's great advice. Now, maybe we'll do something on other amendments to the Constitution. Now, any closing statement from either Bill Clinton or Donald Trump?
I would just say stay tuned, keep the faith, and you'll see that we're already starting in the midterms are starting to take side here with the Democrats with Roe versus Wade. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are change their votes, and more people, a lot of women are against it. So more and more people are coming out little by little. We're going up 1%, 2% every month. So that's a very positive thing in my mind.
Yeah. Now, President Trump.
Well, I don't know where he gets these facts from. MSNBC, I don't know where he gets it from. It's not true. I mean, it's not a one issue, Bill. We're talking the border. We're talking gas. We're talking inflation, supply, the war, spending billions of dollars instead of our own infrastructure. There's a multitude of things that the American people is sick of, and they want to change, a real change, one that they really can believe in.
Yep, I think that's true. Now, Mitch closes out for tonight's show. Lively discussion. Look forward to next week.
Thank you all for joining us this week for General Jabs. God bless, and we'll see you next week.
God bless America.